Hi there, quick thing before the video begins. I would like to say there is a shorter, more condensed version and less wordy version that's a bit less detail oriented but focuses on all the main points version of this review. It's just this album review, but it's just like jump cutted more. It is up on my channel, and it probably also is in a time card within this video if you are less attentive or don't have the time of your day to watch this full video. That is available for you if you would like it. Otherwise, enjoy the video. Hello, music lovers. My name is Carter, and welcome back to Recording Records. It's been a minute, but today I'm very excited for this video. We are going to be diving into Lana's debut, but like kind of debut, we'll get into that in a minute, album, Born to Die. I'm very excited to do this video because I kind of do, and we'll see how it goes, I kind of want to go into her whole discography. For some reason, I hadn't heard of her until like 2022 or 2023 when one of my friends brought her up as some like joke or something. I don't know how I didn't hear from her because she was not like she wasn't popular in the 2010s or whatever, but I guess I was just out of the pop loop for a while. But some point like 2023, I remember I listened to a lot of CDs. You'll see my CDs up I have here in the background all the time. I'm a big time CD buyer, and I love listening to CDs in the car and just listening through an album. I remember I went to the Barnes & Noble and I bought Born to Die and Did You Notice a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard to listen to my sister. We can both listen to in the car because I know she's a big Lana fan. And I remember listening to Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard. I got really into one of the songs, the title track, and it kind of like clicked with me. I was like, oh, this is good. And then one of my other friends had shown me, we listened to Born to Die on a car trip together. I think we listened to both albums actually. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. But at some point I started like listening to Born to Die again, and it really just started clicking with me. I started liking her as an artist. And so I think I'm going to go through her whole discography, and we're going to start right at the beginning. I'm so excited to start this. She has quickly become one of my favorite artists. So I'm very excited to start this series if it becomes one, starting with Born to Die. Now, Born to Die is the second studio release album by Lana Del Rey. Technically the first from Lana Del Rey, because she was previously called Lana Del Rey, spelled R-A-Y, when she released her debut self-titled album with the same name. And then she changed her name to R-E-Y and released Born to Die. And so this is like technically kind of her debut, kind of not. But Born to Die is an album that combines like a very like pop style, pop formulaic structure to the songs. You know, your verse, chorus, and your bridge and your chorus, and some post-chorus thrown in there for some spices on different songs. It's that very like pop style, pop structure, but also added with like hip-hop percussion and orchestral instrumentation. This is an album primarily produced by producers Emile Haney and Jeff Basker. Now, to give some background to the producers, Emile Haney grew up in Buffalo, New York, producing for New York rappers like Raekwon and Ghostface. And through MySpace, he stumbled upon rapper Kid Cudi in 2007 and connected with Cudi's manager. From there, he produced Cudi's debut mixtape, A Kid Named Cudi, and also became a co-manager of Kid Cudi's. And Jeff Basker had also developed in the hip-hop scene, co-producing and co-writing on Ye's 2008 album 808s and Heartbreaks. From this, he would work on the two songs on the Blueprint 3 by Jay-Z that had Ye features, Run This Town and Hate, and later would work on the song My World from Kid Cudi's breakout debut album Man on the Moon. In 2010, Kid Cudi was signed to a label owned by Ye called Good Music. At the time, Ye was working on his legendary album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and Kid Cudi was working on his second album, Man on the Moon 2. Both these productions likely took place in the same studio since they were under the same label, and because also Emile Haney was in the studio with Kid Cudi when he was eventually approached by Ye, who asked him to go through his beats, and Emile Haney went through his beats and went through this one beat that he didn't think much of. And Ye heard it and was like, huh. And he just caught onto a melody. He went in the studio and he started singing what became Runaway, his legendary song Runaway. The melody to it, the and I always find came from one of Emile Haney's projects. So happened to be producing that song as well was Jeff Basker, who played the keys on that song. And from there, both of them became kind of like a common collaborator. Not like they collab all the time, but they did start to work on songs together. They also eventually then worked together on the album Some Nights by Fun, and then they came together on Born to Die. With that being said, I should state most of the songs on the album were done individually by Haney, and with Basker's contributions coming on the tracks Born to Die, Diamond Undo, National Anthem, and Carmen. There's one song, Video Games, that has neither of them, but every other song has Emile Haney's fingerprints on them. But with both producers having heavy hip-hop experience, it was that hip-hop experience that was so crucial to creating the hip-hop percussion and all the hip-hop samples that are played throughout the album, creating that like pop hip-hop, and then obviously the orchestral parts of the album, which the orchestral parts, you'll have stuff like the keyboard and the guitar, which both Emile Haney and Basker worked on their songs. Speaking to like the instrumentation side of things, I'm going to get into the instrumentation and themes of each track. There's a lot of stuff I have to say about each track, so this might take a minute, but it's good to let's go and start with Born to Die, the title track, the opener. Born to Die is a song dedicated to ignoring the inevitability of death by enjoying the moment. Lana is enjoying a love, the kind of love that makes the sad certainly worthwhile. The song is about Lana living on the edge to enjoy every moment she can of something that will eventually come to an end. She is enjoying this love as a way to escape the sadness of an unavoidable despair, and is holding on to a hope that somehow this love can be eternal, even though it seems that all love ends. She crafts this theme in two parts. The first part is the development of despair, the development of like the inevitability of death, and the development of the threats that exist to love. She begins this in the first verse with the lines, "Feet don't fail me now, take me to the finish line. Oh, my heart, it breaks every step that I take." Here she develops the despair present in her life. She is heartbroken, hurt. With every continuing moment, with every step she takes, she is asking for her feet, asking herself to continue to what could be an important moment for her. She is asking herself to push through to despair. The next line is, "But I'm hoping that the gates, they'll tell me that you're mine." Gates is presumably a reference to the golden gates of heaven, a place that is the faithful go to when they die. This develops the oncoming threat of death. Lana is very conscious about the fact that one day she'll die, and she is hoping that this love will continue to it through the threats that will approach. These existence of threats to love are developed in the pre-chorus that follows the first verse, with the lines, "Sometimes love is not enough and the road gets tough, I don't know why." Because sometimes, the road gets tough and relationships end. It's not always logical, but things happen. And so she's developing like this threat and this oncoming despair, saying that at some point it's going to come. The second part of the development of this theme comes in the form of Lana trying to enjoy every moment of love as a way to escape the sadness described in the prior part. This begins with that same pre-chorus with the lyrics, "Keep making me laugh, let's go get high, the road is long, we carry on, try to have fun in the meantime." She wants to just keep enjoying the moment. She wants to keep laughing and having fun. This continues into the chorus where Lana says, "Come and take a walk on the wild side, let me kiss you hard in the pouring rain, you're like a girl's insane." Here she embraces that wild side, living on the edge, having fun. And then the oncoming lyrics to close out the chorus are, "Choose your last words, this is the last time, 'cause you and I, we were born to die." And these lyrics encompass kind of the theme of this song. Lana is sure of oncoming death and is worried about the relationship coming to an end, as elaborated in the words, "choose your last words," which could relate to the last words said before death or the last words said before a relationship ends. But she wants to enjoy the love while she can and just have fun, make out in the rain. Have fun because one day they will die. So they ought to enjoy the moment because after all, they are born to die. And this continues throughout the song. Like in the second verse, she further elaborates how she's escaping the despair, where she says, "Lost, but now I'm found." And, for the rest of it, it's just a repeat of these themes of here's despair, and here's how I'm escaping it with this love. This song opens up the album with an orchestral sound, with the organ subtly layered beneath the sound, which sounds so cool. Throughout the song is a violin, which helps the song capture nostalgia, classic American romance, and 50s and 60s Americana. The violin is an instrument associated commonly with love, creating that romance. Most obviously because of the use of the violin with romantical serenading. This song has like all these subtle sounds added in the verse and the pre-chorus to build up to the chorus, and they're just like really cool, very effective. This song has really cool vocal stacking, and I really like the percussion. I like the cowbell too. The cowbell's fire. About 3.5 minutes into the song, there's a post-chorus, which is mostly fine, but the second half of it, where it repeats the chorus, it has like a bit, I'd say, not like a very, but it does have kind of an awkward entrance. It's not very subtle or natural. And so that's a bit off-putting. But outside of this, it's a pretty cool song and a good opener. It opens well to the ideas of the album that, underneath the joys such as love or teenage years are troubles, drugs, lies, alcohol. This is a reverberating theme throughout the album that we'll begin to discuss. And this all begins here in the opener. The next track is Off to the Races. Before I get into Off to the Races, I need to talk about the 1955 novel that inspires many of this song's lyrics, Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. To describe this complicated novel in a way that's short, relevant to the song, and is somewhat appropriate, Lolita is a novel about a man by the alias Humbert Humbert who is very deranged following the early passing of his childhood love, Annabelle Lee, or it's Annabelle Lee, I'm not sure, I'm not too familiar, but this man, Humbert Humbert, then falls in love with a young girl, we'll call her Lolita, who reminds Humbert of his first love. Lolita at first seems to have a crush on Humbert, but that begins to fade. He is very predatory to her. He drugs her and attempts to bribe her with her love with trips. She gives Humbert the love he wants in exchange for money. That's about the extent I'm going to discuss about the novel. If you know anything about the novel, you'd understand why I'm not going any further into it. And that's also my understanding of it because, again, if you know the novel, I'm not reading it. I've just read about the plot to be able to make this album review and read about like the references within the song. So we're just going to have to leave it at that. If I'm wrong about something, I'm wrong, but we're going to leave it at that. But in this song, Lana positions herself as Lolita, the young female interest in the novel. In this song, she plays sort of a mixture of Lolita and her own drug and alcohol troubled past. It's a bit different than the novel Lolita, as Lana shows love towards a man, sort of uncommon with the novel. But the inspiration for Lolita is so obvious, she even almost quotes the novel verbatim in one of the song lyrics. In this song, Lana is a troubled girl. She is addicted to alcohol and is in love with being bought out. She feels like she needs an older man who is more mature to maintain her wildness. She is completely in love with this man who's a bad man, a cocaine addict, a thief, but he gives her what she wants. While in that relationship, she gets the money she wants, represented by the lines, give me them coins, and presumably spends it on alcohol, as she then says she's off to the races. She begins the wild journey. Presumably, she relapses on alcohol or drugs or whatever, but probably alcohol as insinuated by the following lyrics, cases of Bacardi chasers, with Bacardi being a rum and a chasers being a type of drink. She then says she's wasted, as in drunk, and in jail at Rikers Island, and needs him to come and save her. This basically is what this song is, with constant references and allusions to the novel Lolita mixed in between. In this song, Lana is a self-described harlot who is in love with this man who she thinks will and is keeping her alive. Originally, I had wanted to say that the man in the song was a metaphor for her love for alcohol, with lyrics like "kiss me on my open mouth," "the way he holds my hand," and "he has me by his heart," which could possibly be a reference to alcohol, kind of a double entendre for alcohol, especially mixed within the lyrics about alcohol. But she confirmed in an interview that the song was about a relationship she had with a gambler where she used to do drugs within that relationship. So probably not. But one of my favorite lyrics, I'd say, about the song, one of my favorite parts of the song, sort of insignificant for demonstrating a theme, but important for maintaining the Americana theme, is the refrain where she says, "White bikini off with my red nail polish, watch me in the swimming pool, bright blue ripples." And, the reason I like these lyrics, obviously, if you caught it, was the imagery she uses for America, for Americana, with, the red, white, and blue, with that red nail polish, white bikini, blue swimming pool ripples. In general, this song is just super fun. Although I've never been the biggest fan of the opening to the song, just because it's kind of low energy and unpolished, I do like how in the refrain, the vocal seconds kind of push that energy, and the energy just comes together, all together in the polished vocals and the pre-chorus, and then comes the chorus, and the chorus is just undeniable. The percussion with the drum machine is super snappy and catchy. It's awesome. The Heitman shouts are awesome. Throughout the track, the light violin that plays, awesome. Her chit-chatty rap-like deliveries are just so good, so awesome, so catchy. The accent to the chorus with the "I'm your little scarlet starlet" is like the cherry on top of a delicious treat. I'm not huge on the bridge of the song. The chorus, though, might be my favorite part of the album. But with that bridge, I do think the song probably would be better if it closed out after the second chorus. Even though the third chorus is awesome, the bridge kind of is just lackluster. The next song is Blue Jeans. Blue Jeans is a song about a bad boy ex-boyfriend who left Lana to chase wealth despite her infatuation for him. At the beginning of this song, even though she is referring to the relationship in a past tense form, Lana hasn't really revealed yet that things went wrong. As the song develops, though, the separation begins to unravel. This is despite Lana's unwavering love for him. With the first three songs, we see these two complementary themes. Youth and young love brings joy and adventure, but also hidden beneath this is heartbreak, despair, self-destruction. Interestingly, the image of Americana and classic American romance continues with the comparison of Lana's ex-boyfriend to James Dean, who, if you don't know, was an American actor in the 50s, 60s, a total heartthrob, captured with like white t-shirts, blue jeans, and cigarettes. Sort of this nostalgic era of American history that Lana attempts to draw towards all throughout the album, even in this song. I think this song is really structurally good. I like the distortion in her vocals in the verse when talking about her ex, and the difference in a cleaner vocal at the start of the first chorus gives like this really cool dichotomy in her point of view, or the point of view of like the protagonist or the parts of the song. Very cool. I like how this chorus is like a big wall of sound that drops off really effectively in the last line to return to the energy of the verses. That part's really cool. The bridge to this song is really cool. And outside of the structure of the song, I continue to like the Heitman shouts. They're a good addition in this song. Then we have Video Games. Video Games is a track about infatuation. A deep love Lana has for a boy who reciprocates love at a questionable amount. On one hand, he holds her in his big arms. On the other, her form of bonding with him is him paying attention to a video game while she just watches. She, for whatever reason, though, is, at least in the context of the person of the song, is okay with this and loves this. This man is her life. Now, some people would say, I remember I saw a thread about this when I was researching what old Pauls mean. Some people would say that Lana is using video games as like a metaphor for how she's being treated as a character of this guy's boyfriend. Maybe that's a cynical view that some people have towards a song that Lana is complaining, but certainly the character that Lana portrays through the album is not complaining. Is totally fine with the way that she's treated because there's just so much infatuation. This infatuation is best exemplified in the chorus, most specifically in the line, it's you, it's all for you, everything I do. That sort of captures the approach Lana takes throughout the song. Everything is for this guy. In this song, I love the break we have from the percussional style that we had before, and this choice of new instrumentation. Previously, the album was mostly just like the violin, but in this song, we get the addition of a piano, a harp. There's this like bassy thing. I'm assuming it's some kind of sub bass. I'm not sure. But the additional instruments make the music sound kind of somber and intimate. This intimacy is widely built off specifically the exclusion of percussion and the inclusion of a piano. Both just give so much more attention to the vocal. You know, the lack of percussion erodes rhythmic focus and shifts it to the vocal, and the piano just makes vocals so much more powerful by complementing the vocal and ascending vocal ascension. It's just like and the commonness of piano too makes this song also feel more homemade or personal, which helps with that intimacy, and is furthered by that vocal being so much more important. And when that vocal is so much more important, Lana just like delivers every single line of the song. Lana delivers each line powerful, amazing, and maybe it doesn't have the most amazing, super high note or whatever. In fact, it's a pretty low tone, but everything is very professionally delivered, very intimate. Really, just like she does a great job vocally in the song. When given a tough task, she just destroys that task. The next song is Diet Mountain Dew, a personal favorite of mine. Diet Mountain Dew is a song about Lana being in a relationship with a man who is no good for her. This man takes things really fast, and the pace of the relationship throughout the song is exemplified by a car ride, specifically one in a white Pontiac, which is a car that can go very fast, very quick. The synopsis of this relationship is best represented by the metaphor Diet Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is a soda, a very unhealthy soda, as soda's already unhealthy, but a very unhealthy, addictive soda with a lot of sugar. And a Diet Mountain Dew is an advertised, more healthy alternative to Mountain Dew, but it's still terrible for you. It's an unhealthy drink disguised as a healthy alternative. And this relationship is the same. In the intro to the song, this comes apparent with Lana chanting, "You're no good for me," and then her desire, her addiction for him coming apparent when she says, "But baby, I want you." Lana is totally into this guy. She wants to live with him forever. She puts on her heart-shaped sunglasses, looking at the relationship through the terms of love instead of viewing it from a more objective, unbiased point of view. Heart-shaped sunglasses additionally could be referenced to the 1962 film adaptation of the previously discussed novel Lolita. In a poster advertisement made for the 1962 film and in the DVD box cover, Lolita is pictured with red heart-shaped sunglasses. In the Lolita 1962 film adaptation, from what I've read, Lolita seems to like Humbert a lot more than she does in the novel. There's no mention of Humbert like drugging Lolita, making things implied to be more consensual, I guess. But like she wants, I guess, like she is fine with the relationship. It makes it seem more like that. Just like the novel though, I'm not watching the movie, so if something that's wrong, I'm not looking into it. Usually I love to look into any like cross-reference media when I'm doing these album reviews and there's like cross-reference media. I look into it, I listen to a song, I'll watch a video. But, because of the subject matter, I'm not doing that. But it could like hold as a reference to the film where Lolita's relationship is carried by car ride trips. This relationship with an adult male is obviously bad for Lolita, as is this relationship for Lana. The first verse ends off with the lines, "Says he's going to teach me what fast is," which is representative of how fast he can take the relationship. Additionally, discretion advised for children. This is likely, a reference to having intercourse. And as the song progresses, we make it to a bridge, which just repeats the chanting from the intro. You're no good for me, but baby, I want you. This makes it seem as if, like, as the song progresses, Lana realizes the issues with the relationship, and maybe she, like, there's an oncoming worry in her mind, but she just doubles down to her commitment. Some of these issues are mentioned earlier in the verses when she says, I'm not going to listen to what the past says. You know, there were like issues in the past, maybe a past relationship or in the past of this relationship, but she's just going to ignore it because she's captured by the speed of the relationship, the speed of the car ride. About this song, I like how it puts us right back into the high energy groove that video games kind of took us out of. I love the intro to the song. I like how it gets us right back in the mood with the hype man shouts, gets us right back into like that style, the pop, orchestra, rap, hip hop percussion, right back into that style. I love the energy she brings in the verses. All the verses are super interesting. It makes you want to listen and hear what she has to say because there's just so much energy on every line. And I love how she brings the intro back with the bridge. It was an excellent choice. Overall, this is just a really fun song. The next song is National Anthem, a song about Lana falling in love for a man for his wealth. Her love is essentially bought. In this song, Lana progresses in despair as her relationship with this man is built upon materialism rather than heart. Her pursuit primarily for money and capital is introduced at the very beginning of the song with the words, money is the anthem of success, so before we go out, what's your address? You know, success is built off money, and her priority when it comes to dating someone is based upon their address or what tax bracket they live in. You know, you can tell by like where they live, their neighborhood, you know, how much wealth do they have that they're expending upon a house is her arbiter for knowing how much money this guy has and therefore this guy's value. Throughout the first two verses, we see Lana hoping for things from her man. Hamptons, Bugatti Veyron, diamonds. Although maybe prioritizationally objectable, there's nothing wrong with the relationship in terms of its health that's at least described outwardly within these verses. With the bridge, though, this begins to change. She says their love is made for the 6th page, a reference to page 6, a gossip column for celebrity life, especially celebrity love and drama between celebrities and them breaking apart, that sort of thing, insinuating that the relationship is like troublesome or made to gossip or has issues. In this relationship, they're doing self-destructive behavior like drinking and driving, and doing drugs. They're spending all their money to cope past the issues, but it doesn't change the fact that Lana feels dark, lonely, and unwanted. Some would consider this song sort of a meta-commentary on how America lost its heart in pursuit of wealth and materialization, especially given that the song dates itself seemingly at the 4th of July, which celebrates America's inception. As wealth and power were chased, the soul of America's being was deprived, and the chaser became deprived, and life became unworthwhile. I don't know exactly if that was a purpose of Lana's, but food for thought for an interpretation on the song. In this song, the hype man is still there, but a lot more muted. It's cool for incorporation and works well in the song, but the fact, what sounds like the same hype man sound effect, maybe they are different or like from the same sound pack, but they sound like the same hype man sound effect, is almost in every song so far is like a bit repetitive, but it's cool for continuation purposes, but the lack of change between the sound is a bit repetitive. But I love the energy of the verses in this song, and the way the chorus draws even more energy is just really well done. The next song is Dark Paradise. Dark Paradise is a song from the perspective of someone who lost someone they were in love with. From research online, this seems to be about a boyfriend of Lana's who died, although some say it's about a friend's dead girlfriend. I'm not going to speculate about that. It's in bad taste to be like, no, it's actually this dead person, not this dead person. I'm not going to speculate on that. It could also possibly be about someone alive, but that's not exactly what the song insinuates. But regardless, this is a very emotionally filled song. beginning at the first verse with the words, "All my friends tell me I should move on, even though you're not here, won't move on." Lana clearly is distraught from the end of the relationship. She can't progress mentally. She is stuck remembering the relationship, remembering sounds of how he sang and how they played. Then the pre-chorus takes her despair to another step. There's no fixing the memories he left behind. His face is like a melody. It just sticks in her head. It's like an earworm. She can't forget about him. She's forgetting about nothing. She's thinking about nothing, and then it just like pops in her head like a melody. And then to another level, his soul is haunting her, and she wishes she was dead. A very serious and non-secretive messaging here. She is demonstrating that this is very, very, very clearly, goes without saying, devastating her. This despair is consuming her. The chorus doesn't make things any less serious and dark. Lana's synopsis of her situation is stated in the first two lines, where she says, "Every time I close my eyes, it's like a dark paradise." At a place of paradise, a beach vacation, a resort, most activity happens in the day. A paradise when it's dark, though, feels like the day has passed. The joy, the experience, it's past, it's gone. And Lana sort of feels the same way. The experiences are now in the past, and you can't go back to them because the time has passed. And so she's just left like in silence and solitude to remember the happy times. And the lyrics get like even crazier when she says, "I'm scared that you won't be waiting on the other side," obviously referencing heaven. So she is scared that she'll never get to experience life with this man again, and is very conscious of death. You know, something you think about a lot within like something as despairing upon your life as she is insinuating this to be. And then the final chorus is really interesting because it ends with, "But there's no you except in my dreams tonight." You know, Lana and this man can only experience life together in her dream, which is why she then ends the song off with, "I don't want to wake up from this tonight." Every living moment of her life is painful, and the only place to escape this is a place where like she can't really think. Her consciousness is really not present. And so Lana is just like so brilliant in the song with combining both like catchy and meaningful lyrics over like pop instrumentals. Her like ability to do this, especially in this song, is like truly unique and amazing. It's no doubt that she has a history with poetry. It's very self-evident within the song. I like her take on a classic pop pattern in the song. You know, her AAAB, although here it's more like AAB or AAAAB. That's in the pre-chorus with the "There's no remedy for memory, your heart's like a melody." That part, it's just like so catchy. It dances really well. You have the A, and then you have a B, and then it goes back, dun, 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 then you have the B. Really well done pattern. A very interesting take on it that just moves very well. In this song, the Heitman shouts is still there. In the pre-chorus, it's almost unnoticeable. The violin that's in the song, in the chorus, it's just awesome. I like the repeated "dead like you" in the pre-chorus that serves as like a countdown to the chorus. A lot different than like a 1, 2, 3, 4 or something. It functions the same, but it adds addition within her emotion, and I guess it's like less cliche or whatever. And so yeah, really good lyricism throughout the song. And additionally, it's not like she's just spouting thoughts that are meaningful to her. She does it with catchy patterns, catchy phonic usage. Really well done job within this song. The next song is "Radio." In an interview with an Italian paper in 2012, Lana explains her reason for making the song as follows. "They'll start to like you because you're on the radio, and it's true. I just wrote it when this guy that I used to know came back into life, so now my life is sweet like cinnamon." And so this song is just about Lana getting back with a guy and that elevating her life. She's been raised from the dead. Life used to be hard, but now she doesn't think about it. Now her life is sweet like cinnamon. American dreams came true. Her life is paradise. Additionally, she implies that this lover might like her because she is now on the radio, as she described within the quote. This song is an interesting change of heart from the prior song, Dark Paradise. In that song, her life is torturous. Every day of her life sucks because she lost a boyfriend. Her life is a dark paradise. In this song, her life is a paradise because she got back with this guy. There's not a lot to say about this song. It's just a really good, catchy song. It's not one of those songs where there's something like productionally or vocally wise that is in that goes along with a thematic direction that is like a clever usage to point out, or it has like some advanced poetry. It's one of those songs that's just written to be a hit, and it does that very well. Super catchy. I love this song so much. But unless I knew more about like what makes a melody good and how to explain that, if I understood more of that side about it, I'd have stuff to talk about here, but I'm not at that point yet, so there's not a lot to talk about. But the chorus in the song is one of the catchiest pop melodies I've ever heard in any pop song. I like the bridge a lot too. That's about all I have to say. I love this song. The next song is Carmen. To understand the song, we need to go back to literature again for just a moment. Carmen is the name of an 1845 novella by Prosper Mérimée, I believe that's how it's pronounced, and it's about a robber who falls in love with this girl named Carmen. Carmen is loved for being free and rebellious. She is flirtatious, charming, and bold, but she is uncommitting. She becomes a difficulty to her lover because of how untamable she is. This is similar to the previously discussed novel Lolita. Interestingly, in the novel Lolita, I believe at some point Lolita is referred to as Carmen because Humbert views Lolita as desirable but exceptionally difficult to tame, likewise to the character of Carmen. Important to add, because it's important to the song, the character Carmen is a gypsy who some would say uses men for survival. In this song, Lana positions herself as Carmen, a beautiful, desired woman full of depression and issues not evident to outsiders. She describes herself as an alcoholic and a drug abuser. People look up to her and desire to be her, but she lets people know that they don't want to be like her. Being free, being charming, being desired seems fulfilling to many. It seems like something that a lot of people are jealous of people over and say they want into life, but Lana is making a point to say, it's not always desirable. This trend throughout the album, previously discussed, of glamour being not all it seems, continues throughout this song. In this song, I'm not a big fan of the more separated vocal stacking at the start of the pre-chorus. This with the timpani, it just sounds kind of like sloppy, but the rest of the song is kind of catchy. I don't like some of the productional things that are done. I do like the melody that goes throughout the song. It's very good though. The next song is $1 Million Man. As previously discussed with the songs Off to the Races and National Anthem, Lana has a past with loving men for their wealth. And to say the least, certainly it hasn't brought her the results she would want. And in this song, the story is mostly the same. This is a song about Lana being heartbroken about a man who dumped her. About this song, she said in an interview with The Sun that the song is about a man who thought she was exotic. He was handsome and wholesome, but he ran an illegal electronic business. Lana positions this man as $1 million man. Not only is he successful, but he looks like $1 million too. This man showered her with love, calling her the most exotic flower. And Lana soaked it all in from this man who has all these seemingly desirable qualities. And with him, she felt like she just had the world. She owned all the capital someone wished they could own. She had the world. And now that he broke up with her, she has nothing. In the song, I really love the chorus. It's very catchy. I think the sound effects throughout the song are really cool too. The next song is Summertime Sadness. This is Lana's biggest song to date. This is a song where a lot of people have made up their mind about Lana through. People will tell you, I hate Lana Del Rey, and the only song they've heard is Summertime Sadness. People will tell you they like her, and the only song they've heard is Summertime Sadness. People will begin to listen to her because they listen to Summertime Sadness. And so it's such a pivotal part of her career journey. This is a song that balances the joyful experiences with the sadness that things eventually come to an end. Whether it's about a past relationship, a deceased friend, this thing comes to an end, and it came to an end and it left Lana with despair. While on its surface, it's a happy time, it's summertime, they're dancing, they're dressing up, they're cruising. There's this underlying sadness that seems contradictory to what seems exciting. This song, though, is really less about a specific instance in Lana's life, but it's more about an experience where beauty and fun intertwines with tragedy. In this song, the pre-chorus does such a great job pre-chorusing. It pulls me in greatly. I like the bells throughout the chorus. They're really cool. The post-chorus is awesome. It's a catchy song. It's not my favorite in her discography, but I do understand what makes it such a hit. And then to close out the album, we have This Is What Makes Us Girls. This is a song about being girls in kind of a playful manner. Girls, they just do whatever they want and they have fun. I'm just a girl. But Lana kind of flips this idea on its head. Maybe it's not this glamorized thing that is shown in the like girl road trip movies or books or TV shows. Lana, as we know, earlier in her life struggled with alcohol, drug usage, and so being a girl, she partied, she snuck out, she drank, she stole, and fell in love with the wrong guys. And she makes these destructive actions sound fun, but in reality, when you look at the effects of them, they tear apart friendships. When you're not distracted by the fun, you take yourself back. You start to see all the problems. You start to see how they get her sent away to boarding school. You start to see all the problems when you take yourself back. And certainly, even though she makes it seem fun and glamorous, certainly substance abuse or alcoholism, it's not glamorous. And so this fun, joyous, and nostalgic lifestyle is not short of its own hardships. In this song, the orchestration is really cool. Haven't talked about it in a while, even though it has been there, but it's more building of this like nostalgic sound ever present in the album. The intro to this song is kind of like energy drained, to be honest, but it's also like mellow. But I really like the chorus, especially all the hype man shouts are like really cool and a good reference to the sound of the rest of the album. And so yeah, it's a cool chorus. I like the hype man shouts, and yeah, that's about all I have to say about the song. That was a lot I had to say about all the individual songs. So to put together what we all just discussed, let's take it back all the way to the beginning, to the title track, Born to Die. As we discussed, this song is about Lana living on the edge to enjoy every moment she can of something that eventually will come to an end. This is developed in two different parts, as we discussed. One is that Lana is enjoying the moment to escape despair. The other is the reality that one day all good things will come to an end, often in a terrible way. At some point, everything comes to an end. We are born to die. But this dynamic of ignoring the inevitability of despair, ignoring the oncoming bad, this dynamic of ignoring that, this lifestyle of being born to die, isn't really a recommendation of Lana's. It's really quite the opposite. At some point, this was a lifestyle Lana lived, where she just chased fun, ignored the bad that could be caused by it. And this album is kind of her warning of how this lifestyle turns out. It's really a tale of tragedy. There's three main reoccurring pursuits of Lana in this album. There's money, harmful substances such as drugs, alcohol, and then there's relationships. And like the song Born to Die, these are mostly discussed in those same two parts. Lana speaks to the joy she chased and pursued with these desires of hers, and then speaks to the damage that this caused her. When it comes to the desire of relationship, for example, songs like Blue Jeans, Off to the Races, Diet Mountain Dew, National Anthem, $1 Million Man, Summertime Sadness, This Is What Makes Us Girls, use these two parts mention by speaking to the fun that Lana pursued in relationships that eventually ended up not being good for her. The song Born to Die is kind of similar in this positive-negative dichotomy, but the negative has yet to come, although Lana says it eventually will. Additionally, with Off to the Races, it's not really like explicitly, she doesn't like say the things are bad, but it's very obviously bad, it has like a positive fun and a negative long-term side effect where she makes this guy sound out to be so encouraging, but the things he's encouraging are like alcohol relapses, getting drunk and wasted, which obviously we know to be bad. I like to call these types of songs where they have like that positive-negative dichotomy, I like to put them in the positive-negative group, where the song displays both the positive and negative effects of Lana's pursuit. There are a few songs, though, in reference to relationships I didn't list as having a positive but negative outlook on. The first outlier is Video Games. Video Games is about Lana's complete adoration for a man who gives her not a lot of attention, but enough to satisfy her. Despite this lack of attention that he gives her, she doesn't outwardly express that in a negative manner. In some ways, like it could be interpreted that she is complaining, but the negative outlook towards the situation is really spared unless you read your own thoughts into it. To Lana, at least at the time that the song of this, that the character in the song is in, this is like a completely positive situation, but I understand if you want to also consider the song a positive negative reflection on relationships. But this song I really wouldn't put in there because this song speaks to only the short fun part. We assume despair is going to come, but there's no like insinuation that it will. The next outlier is Dark Paradise. Unlike Video Games where it only talks about the short fun part, Dark Paradise only talks about the negative outlook on relationships. This song skips the short fun part, and it speaks to the despair that Lana was in, the sadness, how every day of her life sucked. And although this song implies that there was fun, given how much she was impacted by the departure of this person that she had a relationship with, the focus is entirely on the despair of their departure. The next outlier is Radio, which is just all positive, but this song is then followed by Carmen, which is all negative. So it's like all positive and then it's all negative. These come back to back, kind of function as kind of like one song within this dichotomy. It's kind of like in a combined experience where you have all the positive relationship followed by all negative. To the other pursuits, substance abuse and greed or pursuit of money are talked about using this same two-part dynamic, but it's a bit different. It's talked about how harmful substances and money were desired and maybe fun, but unlike a relationship where they can be negative, these are like always negative and should be avoided. Love is showcased to be fun, but in the end, it can be dangerous, I guess. But greed and substance abuse are always dangerous. And so it doesn't necessarily not follow the model of positive short fun time with negative long time effects, but the balance of negative and positive is far, 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 far more heavy on the side of negative when it comes to substance abuse or greed than love is because of the serious consequences of those pursuits. Love can just make you sad. Greed and substance abuse could ruin your life, and substance abuse could flat out just end it. And so the album follows this journey of her life of being born to die. And while this title track may say that the despair is inevitable, the songs don't really make it seem as if this is the case. Rather, it makes it seem as if her pursuit of short-term fun was often the culprit of this despair. Whether or not her belief in the inevitability of death, being born to die, is truly real is left open to the interpretation of the listener, but underneath the glamour and the desire can exist despair, which is such a key point she makes in this album. And this sort of glamour that's talked about, a glamorized, fun experience. This glamour is represented by this album's constant reference to 50s and 60s America. 50s, 60s America, a time that much nostalgia exists for today, a time where life is represented as desirable by the works of people like Norman Rockwell. Everything from that time period just screams happy, screams healthy, but at some point, the 50s and 60s died. They ended. There came drug use. The family began to die out. America, in the eyes of many, began to decline. No different than how Lana represents these things that she chased that seemed fun at first, but when they passed, left her with depravity. For this album, Lana describes her character as gangsty Nancy Sriracha and Lolita lost in the hood. She is these glamorized characters of the 50s and 60s, but underneath the glamour, she's caught up in trouble, being a self-described gangster and lost in the hood. This whole approach to creating glamour and nostalgia, as previously discussed, is fueled by the instrumentation. It's fueled by the classical sounding orchestral instrumentation that give you such a feeling of nostalgia. And the violin fuels the romantical aspect, given that nostalgia towards romance. And so this album is just filled with great tracks. There's not really a bad track. A lot of the biggest songs on her discography come off this album. This isn't an album that really builds upon itself, I'd say. It doesn't sound like an experience is really trying to be sold. Rather, it kind of just has, to be honest, it kind of has that pop format of just a bunch of songs, a bunch of great songs, with similar sonics intended to be hits, just put on an album, put on a track listing, not really building upon each other in a sonic format, in an energetic format. But I would say, of that style of album, of which there are many, this is the best I've reviewed so far. I'm not sure how long that'll last. Probably not long. But so far, this is the best I've reviewed of that format. This album reminds me a lot of Ye's Graduation in the sense that they both just have so many great songs, some of the best songs of their discographies, yet somehow still aren't widely viewed as the best albums of their discography. I've yet to listen through Lana's entire discography, so I won't comment on if that belief that some people have is true. I don't know if I'll end up agreeing with them or not. But the point is, what holds back the album is kind of outside of the individual performances of each track. This album really just has a lack of climactic, engaging energy from start to finish. I would say the album slumps through the end, despite the end of the album still having great songs. It can be a tad bit repetitive, I'd also say. And the album just doesn't do the most album-y things. It's also not an album with transitions, which there are great albums, amazing albums without transitions, so it's not necessarily a knock, but is always an addition for creating that feeling of songs building upon each other. There's just not a lot of that thought put within this album. If there were more album-y things, and you took the same quality of songs, this could be a GOAT album. Because the worst song on this album, it's still good. So despite its faults, as I previously mentioned, it's still a fantastic album. It still has a great track listing. It's still a fun experience to listen to. This is one of my favorite and best albums I've listened to so far, although it should be stated, I've only listened to so many albums. I haven't listened to so many albums that are held in such high regards that I need to listen to. I haven't gone to reviewing those, listening to those yet, so that will probably change, but this is still an album that's very dear to me. I do love a lot of the tracks on this album, but to be honest, with all the flaws I just listed, I'm going to give this album a 9.5 out of 10. I could see an argument between 9.25 and 9.75. I'd say it's more lenient to 9.5, 9.75, I guess. I guess. I'm not sure how confident I am on that, but I definitely would say this is a 9.5 out of 10. A great album, a great track listing, but actually, I'd say it's probably closer to a 9.25 to 9.5, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But a great album, a great track listing, really just a fantastic way to start her discography, to start her artistry, to start her career as Lana Del Rey. A great way to start off, and something that I'm hoping that she built upon. We'll have to see. Ultraviolence, I will eventually do a review of, and then we'll see where we go from there. I probably will do NFR, most definitely. And we'll see if I cover the rest of her discography, because there's just so many albums to review. There's just like millions of albums in the world. There's so much to review, and I only have so much time. But hopefully I do. I much enjoyed reviewing this album, listening to it, and collecting my thoughts on it. It was a long time of work, but I'm so glad I did, because it really helped me grow a great appreciation for Lana as an artist, and I'm so excited to hear more of her artistry. With that being said, that will conclude this review. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. But regardless, just have a good day. God bless. Goodbye. Bye-bye.